welcome back to YNAB by Marin YouTube, talking about authentic alignment every Tuesday. Today I am going to share with you some investments I have made that have changed my life. I have a list of 6 investments to share today, and they are in no particular order. So let's just jump right in. The first investment is a whiteboard. Having a whiteboard has fostered so much creativity and ideas to come from me and through me and actually become concrete in front of me in a way that I don't think would have been possible without this big, masterful way of organizing and writing and erasing and restructuring and just throwing things down and seeing what comes of it or what's even there to start. With this whiteboard, I have gotten through blocks. If I feel like I'm stuck with a thought, I write it out and I go through all the possibilities and all the possible solutions and what the dialogue is in my mind. I've used this whiteboard for planning, writing a timeline and what I envision. I've used this whiteboard for goal setting, so creating my list of goals for the week and then checking them off or erasing them if they no longer apply. I have also used this whiteboard as a way to remind myself of what it is I am focusing on. So those goals are one example, but also I've started writing yes and intentions of the week and personal intentions of the week, and just having it there for reference that I can continuously look to see what is it I'm focusing on again. The second investment is a chalkboard. This chalkboard is actually an investment made by my mother. She painted and created this beautiful framed chalkboard for me, and it has traveled with me for multiple years now in all the different places that I've lived. It's this symbol that is, this is my home. Even though it's a new home, it may be a new place that I'm living. In terms of its use, I have used this chalkboard for about 6 years as a quote board. I would change it weekly or monthly, a quote that resonated with me at the time, and seeing that it was in my life in so many other ways that I didn't even realize. And currently I use this chalkboard to write up my big dates. So I talked about my goals, my weekly goals being on my whiteboard, and then I have big dates on my chalkboard. So if I have big deadlines for work or big events coming up such as a trip or the return of my boyfriend coming back, then I write those dates on my board, and it serves as kind of guideposts to keep me informed or just to feel a little more grounded about what's going on in my life in the big picture right now, but also to serve as motivation and inspiration that I have something coming or there's a deadline or what are the big things that I want to come up, so the big dates that I want to happen even if they're not concrete yet. The third investment that has changed my life is an investment of time through voice memos. These voice memos have so drastically impacted and changed my life because they have fostered, especially in my intimate relationship, so much vulnerability and connection because of these hours, literal hours of conversation and intent listening and vulnerability in its truest sense. Rather than a text message we can erase, we can retype, we can reconfigure, that we might think about a lot, or that just it's hard to tell. For instance, something I often hear is it's hard to tell if something is sarcastic through a text message. It's just hard to hear the depth of the message, of the words being said through text, as opposed to these memos. And not only have I practiced this vulnerability in my relationship and voice memos, but voice memos have also allowed me to be more vulnerable with myself. So just yesterday, I did an activity where I just spoke my honest, true, fully vulnerable thoughts for 30 minutes without edit, without trying to perfect or mask anything that was going on in my mind. I've also used exercises in the past where I've spoken my truth and then intentionally listened back to the voice memo so that I can hear myself speaking. And a last note about the voice memos, it's also changed my life just because they are easy. They are vulnerable. So once I got over that hump of this is vulnerable, what if I mess up, what if I don't say something correctly, to send a voice memo is just easier. The fourth investment is one I am so passionate about. I love You Need a Budget so much. It has so drastically changed my life. It is an online tool that I have used now for over a year. And why it has transformed my life is because I have always been really interested in money and in my own financial independence and financial security. But I wrestled for so many years, a decade really, about what that meant and what that looked like. You Need a Budget changed my life because it allowed me to organize my own finances, my plans for future financial investments or financial goals, and to better understand what it was I was craving in the first place, what financial independence looked like, and then also where I was in relationship to that. This allowed me to build trust in myself and in my financial decisions and in my financial plans and goals for the future. It continues to allow me to make informed decisions. Can I go to Thailand? Can I not? Do I want to buy a car now? Do I want to buy one later? So it's not that I'm solely making decisions based off of You Need a Budget and my finances, but it is one tool that allows me to use finances as one data point in my decision-making process. It has also allowed me to spend with intention. So for example, I have a wellness bucket, and then under that I have my gym membership, I have groceries, I have my life coach, and these are things that I put under wellness, I put under my well-being, but someone else might not. And that's a great depiction of what I value and if I'm spending in alignment with my values. And maybe the biggest impact You Need a Budget has on my life is that has fostered my ability to take a risk and pursue my dream, which is yes and. Because You Need a Budget allowed me to find clarity there, which was one of my biggest roadblocks to pursuing my dream. And everyone has their own roadblock, so yours might not be money, maybe yours is something else, in which case you might use a different tool. But for me, it was that concept of financial independence and financial stability, and You Need a Budget eased my mind about that, and it allowed me to trust and to see clearly and to have another piece of data in mind so that I could make an informed decision regarding my dream. The fifth is voice lessons. Voice lessons was an investment both in my time and money during my years in grad school. Voice lessons in so many ways fostered my ability to live authentically, to stay true to who I am. It was a reminder every single week that there is always enough time. That is a belief I talked about, I think 2 weeks ago here on Yes and by Marin YouTube. There is always enough time, and I truly believe that, and sometimes I forget that, or sometimes I slip into that scarcity mindset of there isn't enough time. It was in my calendar to set aside the grad school work that easily could have taken up all of my hours and say, I value a hobby, I value this other thing, and there is enough time to pursue it. And even if I felt stressed about the hour that week, I felt I didn't have an hour to spend, I still went. I still went because I knew that there was always enough time. I knew that in my core. And time again, I realized there is always enough time. Somehow the work got done, or because I had the energy, because of these voice lessons, I was able to be a little more efficient or a little more passionate about the work I was doing in the first place. And another belief, a gentle reminder that it is never too late to begin. It is never too late to start a new hobby, to pick up a new interest, to get curious about something that sparks your intrigue. It fostered my creativity, it invoked a new passion within me, it helped develop a new skill set and allowed me to see things through a new perspective, to see myself through a new perspective and learn more about me and what I am capable of and what my expression can look like. I loved that outlet, and I continue to express myself in that way, and it has been a way for me to gain energy throughout my week. And the sixth investment, maybe you could have guessed, is my life coach. I cannot imagine where I would be without life coaching. Having a life coach fostered so much self-awareness, such a deeper understanding of who I was as an authentic human, what my beliefs are, what my beliefs were, where beliefs came from, what I want to choose to believe, and then actions from all of that data. It has enhanced my decision-making skills. It has allowed me to continuously expand my toolbox for how I can go about these big or small life decisions. It has allowed me to really experience all of life, in the sense that I am more present, I am more aware, and also in the sense that every other week I have this check-in where I get to go into a place where I'm kind of maybe skirting around the edges with, or something that I'm curious about, but I'm not quite sure how to dive in or how to fully absorb myself in that experience. It has allowed me to ask for and to receive and to see the value in having a support, to giving myself permission that I don't have to, and I am not expected to do this alone, nor is anyone else. It has introduced me to a community of individuals and perspectives that I would not have otherwise been introduced to. It has shown me my gifts and something that I am so passionate about that I wish to pursue as a career, as a full-time endeavor. And it is a humble reminder that I am forever a student, that I am always growing, that I am always learning new things about myself, that I am always learning new tools to use as a client and a coach. And as a sometimes hilarious, sometimes humbling, sometimes a little bit frightening realization that I will never have it all figured out, and that's okay, because that's why I will always have a coach. So those are 6 investments that have changed my life with so much benefit. And now, of course, I ask you, what are some things that you have invested in that have changed your life? I would love to hear it. I also might find value in these things. Of course, I am always looking to expand my toolbox. And then also comment, are you inspired to invest in any of the 6 that I have talked about? I would love to hear about what that is, and then afterwards about what your experience was like when you tried on these investments. That is all for this week. I sincerely look forward to speaking with you again next Tuesday right here on YNAB by Marin. As always, reach out to me via Facebook, Instagram, or find my website. My email is on there as well, or linked in the description below. So many ways to contact me. I would love to connect, and I wish you all the fullness on your authentic alignment journey.